Hey teachers, quick pop quiz. You ready? Raise your hand if you can relate to any of the following. Number 1, you've carried home piles and piles of papers planning to catch up over the weekend, only to carry all of those papers completely untouched back into school on Monday morning. Guilty. Number 2, you regularly wake up in the morning already feeling behind schedule, overwhelmed, and anxious because you fell asleep at 9 p.m. and didn't get to plan for the next day like you'd wanted to, much less clean up after dinner or fold that laundry that's been sitting at the bottom of your bed for the last 3 days. Number 3, though you still really love teaching, if you're being honest, some days you really do wonder if you're cut out for it. You can't imagine keeping up this pace for the next 20 or 30 years. But you're determined to find a system. You know there must be a better way. If you answered yes to any of those 3 questions, the 40-Hour Teacher Workweek Club is perfect for you. And if you didn't, well, you're probably not scrolling Facebook right now. I'm Elizabeth. I am a wife and a mom and a teacher in Virginia. And this year, Linda asked me to partner with her to offer some live from the trenches reports on my experience in the 40-Hour Teacher Workweek Club. It has been such a good start to this school year. But let me tell you, it has not always been that way. I ended the 2016-2017 school year on a really low note. It was my 10th year teaching, and though some things had gotten much easier, things like classroom management or building rapport with students, I finally realized that I kept adding things to my life outside of school. Things like that husband or kids or my home. And I just couldn't keep working until 5 or 6 o'clock at night or bringing home tons and tons of papers like I used to do at the beginning of my career. As a result, I found that I was letting work pile up and I was constantly feeling like I either was failing at home or failing at school. It was a really hard place to be, and I just didn't feel like I was the best mom or the best teacher that I could be. Thankfully, this year is off to a much, much better start, and a lot of that is thanks to the 40-Hour Teacher Workweek Club. I signed up for the summer cohort, and I started the club back in July. I immediately, once I did that, gained access to a bunch of free resources and tools that have been super helpful for me. In particular, I love Angela Watson's list making system. I'm a convert forever. And I also got to join a Facebook group with a bunch of other secondary teachers. They have a separate one for elementary school. That are in the same boat as me and working their way through the club. That has over 900 members, and I have just loved the community that has been built there. And immediately in July, I started getting these emails like clockwork from Angela every Saturday morning, basically providing me with all these great tools and tips and encouragement and strategies for how to actually be intentional with my time when I'm at work so that I can then be purposeful with my time when I'm at home, which is what we're looking for, right? The way it's set up, just so you know, is each month has a topic. So for example, July's topic was the self-running classroom. And then within that topic, there are usually 4 weeks worth of lessons. I am coming from my little 40-Hour Teacher Workweek Club binder, because I'm a binder girl. Basically, I have printed the blueprint for each month, and that outlines what the 4 topics are, as well as, and this is how you know Angela's been a teacher, she has every month if you do only one thing this month. So that's kind of your baseline. As long as you do this one thing, you're totally on track. I would print this blueprint, and then each week when I would get the emails from Angela, which by the way are jam-packed with stuff, typically they include a PDF lesson that's like 10 to sometimes 20 pages with graphics and charts and all sorts of things. They also include an audio, which I found really great for driving to and from work or while I'm folding laundry or cleaning up my classroom at the end of the day. And they include links to all the printables you need so that if you read something that you want to try in your classroom, you are ready in a flash to do it. So I would skim that material each Saturday or sometimes Monday morning, and then typically at the end of the month, I would just pick one week that I really wanted to focus on that lesson, and I would pick a couple of different things from that week that I could start applying in my classroom. I knew myself, and I knew that I would be overwhelmed if I tried to adopt a new habit or go really in depth with each thing every single week. But I felt like even just pulling out 1 or 2 things each month was made a huge difference. For example, a couple things I've learned so far. I've learned to prioritize my tasks at school by picking 3 things to be my top priorities each day and getting those done first before I fall into the suck of emailing or chatting with colleagues or something like that. I've also started batching my time, which basically just means allowing for larger chunks of time to get things done like grading papers or lesson planning. Now I try to lesson plan for 2 hours one day a week and grade papers for 2 hours another day of the week, because my old system of just trying to fit that into the cracks or bring it home and hope that I have energy after my kid's in bed was leaving me super behind and overwhelmed. And even down to little things like how to effectively use groups. Angela's given me some great tips about pairing up my students for partner work, like having them set up appointments with each other or with their classmates at the beginning of each block. Basically, there is a ton of resources. There's a ton of bang for your buck with this program. It has not been stressful or overwhelming for me. It's been really quite the opposite. The program technically runs 12 months, but it's probably worth mentioning that for me, I'm really thinking of this as something that I will go back and reference and use throughout my career. I feel like this first year is just the tip of the iceberg. I'm just getting started with changes and applying some of these things. Of course, I would love to feel like I had fixed everything, but quick fixes honestly don't usually work. So for now, just taking it one step at a time, showing myself grace, and relying on that community on Facebook and through Angela's portal has been awesome. 11 years in, I know that teaching is never going to be easy. It's never going to be perfect. There's still going to be seasons where my load piles up and things get kind of out of control. But I am determined not to get stuck in a place like I was in last school year and risk ruining the joy and the passion I have for this important work. And it is important and good work. I hope you know that. I hope you know that there is hope, and I personally am incredibly grateful for the resources that I have found through the 40-Hour Teacher Workweek Club this school year. If you are stuck right now, if you are staring at piles and you're paralyzed by overwhelm and anxiety and you are wondering how you're going to make it through this second semester, I want to tell you with confidence that you are not alone, and that there is a better way to do things. I want you to be encouraged, and I want you to know that we are fortunate enough to be in a career that offers a new start every school year, every new semester, every week, even every single morning. So it is not too late for you, and I encourage you to try out the 40-Hour Teacher Workweek. I think you're going to love it.